Eagle, proud symbol of our country, keep on flying high up above, and together we will stand and we'll restore the land. Oh, Eagle, keep on flying, Eagle.
Welcome in to Listen to the Eagle, your live call-in radio show on hunting, fishing, God, family, and country, and anything Paul Ott wants to talk about. You've got us for the whole next hour. Going to talk about Mississippi hunting and fishing. And tonight's your night, because as always on the second Monday night, we got the executive director of the Mississippi Wildlife Federation, Brad Young. Brad, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good to be here on my monthly trip to talk about all things outdoors in Mississippi. Appreciate you and the great Paul Ott having me on as always.
Absolutely. Bert Carruth, your host, live in the Reed's Metal Studio. And Paul Ott is by phone down at beautiful Lake Dixie Springs in the Scenic Rivers region. What about you, Paul Ott?
Deja vu going on down here in Pike County, Bert.
Well, what does that mean?
I don't know. I wonder if your listeners know what deja vu. I bet Jim Fox knows what deja vu means, and
well,
Brad may.
Yeah. That's when you think something has happened before in your mind, right?
That's exactly right. Just like I know that we did the same show last week.
well, let's see if we can't get the same callers. You want to be a part of the show? 1-800-251-5891. That's 1-800-251-5891 or pound 444 if you're C-Spire, customer inspired like we are. You can always go to listentotheeagle.com and catch up on past shows, or also we have a YouTube channel. Is that not correct, Jim? Yeah, YouTube. Is it under Listen to the Eagle? Go to YouTube, Listen to the Eagle. You know, we do a TV show every weekend. Check your local listings on Saturday mornings or Sunday mornings, depending on what part of the state you're in. But if you ever miss one of those, go to YouTube and look up Listen to the Eagle. You can also go to our Facebook page, Listen to the Eagle. Speaking of our Facebook page, I wanted to promote something that was on there, Brad, this past week we saw. We've got a sportsman dinner and worship at the First Baptist Church in Bude, Mississippi. That's the First Baptist Church in Bude. It's going to be September 23rd at 6 p.m. Check that out. Looks like it's going to be some good cooking, some good worshiping, and some good fellowship.
Oh, I used to go to a lot of those and do a little public speaking about bears and conservation, and that was some good food. I'd sit back there and load up that big plate, and get all full of food and cake, and then have to get up there and try to give a speech for 30 minutes. It didn't work out
well.
Real
It's
well
funny you bring that up, because that's one of the first things Paul Ott taught me about public speaking, because, he used to do these things all the time. Mm-hmm. He said, always either get there real early and eat early, or don't eat anything until you're done. That's
exactly right. I can't tell you how many times I'd get up there and get to talking and develop a case of the hiccups right there in the middle of the whole thing.
One other thing Paul Ott always told me, he said, and make sure that they don't let you get up there to speak until everybody's done eating. He said the worst thing in the world is to be right in the middle of a speaking, and then they start coming and cleaning up all the plates and they're clanging.
That's right.
Isn't that right, Paul Ott?
That's exactly right. And, Bert, let's don't forget to think about the families up there that 9/11, being this 9/11, okay?
Yeah, 9/11 anniversary, 16 years ago. We all remember the date. You probably remember where you were, and there's no doubt that those heroes and all the victims are part of that. We will never forget what happened on that day. Also want to send out our prayers and concerns for anybody that has family in the great state of Florida. I understand that was not near as bad as it could have been, but there still is massive flooding, massive damage, a lot of people displaced and trying to get their lives back in order. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure a lot of them have come to the great state of Mississippi. Our hotels are all full. If you see a tag from out of state, give them a hug, give them maybe a little money, just give them something of kindness because they need it. I want to go back to last week. We had a caller call in, Brad. It was Mr. Frank from Brandon, Mississippi. And we did not have an answer for him. And I told him that I would reach out and get him an answer. He wanted to know why, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, why we did not have the hybrid white bass in the Barnett Reservoir. So Mr. Ryan Jones from the Mississippi Department of Wildlife Fisheries biologist shared this with me. I'm going to read it straight from him. Frank, I hope you're listening because this is your answer. We did not request them a couple of years ago due to the high stocking rate of Gulf strain striped bass. The following year, we had complications at the hatchery. We did stock over 300,000 hybrid striped bass fingerlings this spring into the Ross Barnett Reservoir. All adult hybrids remaining are 4 years old and over 10 pounds now. They can be caught at the Ross Barnett Spillway using spoons, swim baits, or white jigs or flies behind the popping cork. So, pretty direct answer.
There you have it.
I want to thank Ryan Jones and the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks for always being there for us to help us answer questions. So, Frank, thank you for your call. Thank you for your question. And I appreciate the department and Mr. Jones for giving us an answer.
Ryan Jones is a smart fella. Known him for a long time. If anybody knows that answer, it's Ryan Jones. So there you have it.
Well, before we go to our first break and come back to the next segment, what are we going to tackle tonight from the Federation standpoint?
Well, I tell you, I think we're just going to solve all the world's problems tonight, Bert.
Black Panthers?
Yeah, sure. Black Panthers, Sasquatches, man, you name it. We're going to take care of all of it once and for all tonight. That's our main mission. But in the meantime, before we get to all that, we're going to talk about a few events that the Wildlife Federation's got coming up. This is, as you all know, man, the weather is fantastic outside. It's nice and cool. It's not 1,000% humidity like it has been for the last couple of months. So we're going to talk about a couple of events we've got coming up around the reservoir this month, and so that'll be our main topic for the night.
Well, y'all don't go anywhere. We got about another 50 minutes of talking hunting and fishing across the great state of Mississippi. You got any stories? I know dove season's been a couple of weeks in now. Anything you want to talk about, broadcast or support, or, give a little plug. 1-800-251-5891. We'll be right back.
Legendary entertainer Paul Ott brings you his greatest hits. Get them all in this special CD-DVD combo set, including Old Blue,
Many and a many of an early morn.
I Am Mississippi,
I am everything good you have ever dreamed about.
Right Arm of America, and many more. To order, visit listentotheeagle.com or send $20 check or money order to Paul Ott's Greatest Hits, Box 219, Summit, Mississippi 39666.
Welcome in to Listen to the Eagle. Thank you for making us a part of your day. You want to be a part of the show? It's your show. Paul Ott started this show over 20 years ago for the Mississippi hunters and fishermen to have a voice across this great state of Alabama. Started with 4 little stations. And I said Alabama.
You
I meant
did, look
Mississippi.
at you.
Sorry. Started with 4 little stations. Now well over 22 stations across the whole state. So you've got a voice. You want to be a part of it. 1-800-251-5891. That's 1-800-251-5891 or pound 444 if you C-Spire. Customer inspired like we are.
Isn't that amazing? Think about how many other outdoor shows do you know that have lasted this long? In this day and age, of course, we see lots of TV shows on the Outdoor Channel and things like that. But to have a radio show dedicated to nothing but hunting and fishing in Mississippi and to turn it into something like Paul Ott has done is it's absolutely amazing.
Well, Brad, and to that point, when you really dial down to the industry or the business of the industry, and Jim can speak to this, all the experts told him, number one, nobody cares about hunting and fishing that much for you to be successful. Number two, it just doesn't make good sense to do one night a week.
Yeah.
They told him it'd never make it.
Yeah.
Never make it. And Paul Ott, here you are 20 years later.
Yeah, I tell you what, Bert, and it's because of those hunters and fishermen and like the Mississippi Wildlife Federation, Brad, just kept the show going. Y'all have really helped a lot.
Well, I mean, this show wouldn't be what it was without you because goodness knows there's certainly an element of entertainment that goes into the show as well when Paul Ott gets on the microphone. So, that has a lot to do with it too. And you have a very loyal following and people love you and they're all glad to hear that you're feeling better and back on the air again.
Yeah, I tell you, I miss old Billy Joe Cross. He was there when we started, I think, Brad. Dr. Polis may have been there. I don't know who was there 20 years ago.
Paul Ott, you know who was here? Your sidekick, your right-hand man who actually called in about 3 weeks ago and we got cut off because he had a bad sale was old Randall Miller, the chief of all law enforcement.
Oh, I miss old Randall up there in Ripley, Mississippi.
I'll never forget, I was in school at college at Ole Miss when you started this program, and I was listening one night, and this guy called in and he said, Paul Ott, I want to know what the best bait is to put under my deer stand. I've been using this deer cocaine, and it just ain't working. And I'll never forget Paul Ott said, well, I tell you what, I got the chief of all law enforcement right here, Randall Miller, and he'll tell you what you can use. And about the time you're
That was the end of that.
Oh, Randall, he was a character.
He still is.
No doubt about it. Well, Brad, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about a couple of events that you want to promote.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a busy month for us as far as activities go. And, of course, Bert, you and I talk about it every time I come on the show. But, so much of what we do at the Wildlife Federation is geared towards getting kids outdoors.
Absolutely.
Introducing them to something outdoors. Of course, we're a very hunting and angling based organization. That's kind of where our bread is buttered. But on September the 23rd is one of our flagship events of the Wildlife Federation. It's Outdoorama on the Res. And anything that's, anything called Outdoorama, has got to be wide ranging and a lot of fun. And that's exactly what we have set up.
Does Rama mean anything goes?
I think so. Yeah, pretty much. We've tried to include just about anything you can think of as far as outdoors, so that's where the name comes from.
Outdoorama on the Res.
Outdoorama on the Res is going to be held at Turcotte Education Center right there on Highway 43 in Canton. You've probably ridden past it many, many a time. A great facility owned by our friends at the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks, and we put this event on in cooperation with the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. It's in celebration of National Hunting and Fishing Day.
Sweet.
I know.
Now, Brad, let me ask you something. Are we losing kids in the outdoors? Is the Game and Fish losing the license sale?
Yes. Unfortunately, that is a nationwide trend. That license sales are steadily declining. Even here in Mississippi, we see a small decrease, not as pronounced as you see in a lot of other states, but nonetheless, even the slightest decrease represents a threat, to our kind of wildlife heritage here in Mississippi.
Yeah.
We have got to do our part to introduce kids to outdoors, whether that's hunting and especially hunting and fishing. They need that next generation.
Take a youngster hunting. Take a youngster hunting. Take a youngster fishing.
That's exactly right.
You remember those spots? Brad wasn't old enough to remember those spots, Bert. You remember?
Oh, Paul Ott, everybody remembers those spots you used to run. Take a youngster hunting and take a youngster fishing and plant a tree and watch them grow.
Yeah, and Jerry Clower did the coon hunt with us, That's how you got started.
Oh, yeah.
Knock him out, John.
Can
you say that, Bert? Can you say that?
Oh, knock him out, John.
Pretty good, Bert.
Yeah, there's a story behind that, Brad, that, Paul Ott, one of his trademark songs is Old Blue, and everybody knows about that song. And something when you hear Paul Ott perform, he always brings up people from the crowd to be the lead hound. But the story goes that Paul Ott, many, many years ago, had a little 15-minute segment on a local station in Jackson, Mississippi. And he got a call one night. And he picked up the phone and said the voice on the other end of the line said, "Oh, Paul Ott, this is Jerry Clower. You know me, boy?" And Paul Ott said, "Well, no, sir, I don't." He said, "Well, you're going to know me in the morning because I'm coming to be on what you call that television show you got. You've been talking about hunting and fishing, but you hadn't done one thing on raccoon hunting." Paul Ott said, "Sounds good. I'll see you in the morning." He said the very next morning, he looked up and they were giving the live news right before his show. And all of a sudden the doors busted open in the studio. And the commotion was so loud, they quit giving the live news. And Paul Ott came around the corner, said there was a big fat man in a red jacket, and an even bigger and fatter man behind him in overalls, had a cage with a pet raccoon in one hand and a coon dog in the other. Marcel Ledbetter. Paul Ott said
That's
he had a
right.
15-minute show. Said he introduced Jerry Clower, and 14 minutes later, Paul Ott hadn't said a word.
That's right. That's
Now that
true
is a
story.
feat right there now.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
More so than Jerry Clower speaking 14 minutes, keeping Paul Ott quiet for 14 minutes was amazing.
I bet Paul Ott was just stunned. He didn't know what to think.
Oh, and Paul Ott says Jerry Clower went from there and he stayed here.
That's right. He made the money and I went broke.
Oh, come on. I never knew Marcel Ledbetter was an actual person. I thought it was just somebody
yeah.
that made up.
Well,
Met him.
got Brad Young in the house. Tonight's your night. Executive Director of Mississippi Wildlife Federation. You got questions, we got answers. We'll be right back.
Paul Ott's The Day of the Lord CD/DVD combo set is our free gift to you and your family. The Day of the Lord includes songs like I Am That I Am, Don't Cry for Me, and They Could Not Stop His Love, as well as special sermons by Tom Lester, Dr. Larry LeBlanc, and others. Paul's special holy visits and the printed Don't Cry for Me poster are also included. Get yours by calling 1-800-684-9486 or by letter to New Day of the Lord Ministries Foundation, Box 219, Summit, Mississippi 39666.
Welcome in to the second half of Listen to the Eagle. Thank you for making us a part of your day. You want to be a part of the show? Paul Ott started this over 20 years ago for you, the Mississippi hunters and fishermen. Want to thank each and every one of you for listening to the show and also watching our show. Because of you is why this show has carried on for that long. And also because of the support of the Mississippi Wildlife Federation, everything y'all do. We've got the executive director here tonight, Brad Young. Brad, as always, thank you so much.
Absolutely. My pleasure to be here. Great to talk to my, as they say, constituency out there, hunters and anglers of Mississippi. That's what we're all about, conserving our natural resources and protecting our wildlife legacy. That's what the Mississippi Wildlife Federation is all about.
You know, we kind of got sidetracked. You were kind of right in the middle of promoting an event, and me and Paul Ott kind of started storytelling, and I apologize.
No,
so let's go back to that event if you don't mind.
Anyway, so yeah, we were talking about our Outdoorama on the Res to be held September the 23rd from 8 a.m. till about 1 or 2 p.m. in the afternoon at the Turcotte Education Center on Highway 43 on the reservoir in Canton, Mississippi. What it is an all-encompassing outdoor experience. Basically, we have tried to kind of take everything outdoors in Mississippi and jam it all into one morning right there on the Education Center at Turcotte. You can show up, you can shoot 22 rifles, you can shoot bows and arrows that are set up out there. You can try your hand at skeet and trap shooting there on the range. You can go fishing in the pond for catfish. You can try canoeing. You can see how shells are reloaded. Knives are all kinds of cool stuff we got going on out there. It's really just a way for people just to get a little taste of just everything that's out there.
So not only if you've never really been introduced to the outdoors, it's definitely for you.
Oh yeah.
But there are some of you out there that kind of have only done this type of hunting, or maybe always bought your shells, but you've always wondered, man, I wonder if I could do my own shells and load, or if you've always been particularly a gun guy that maybe you just want to try and see what it's like.
That's right.
To do a bow, or vice versa.
Yeah, and there are fly fishers there. You know, I had never known how to cast a fly rod before.
Really? Yeah.
I had never done it before.
Hey, and it's a skill
I
and
know,
a technique.
I
You got
know.
to learn how to pull that out.
That's exactly
and whip
right.
it
And there are guys there that are experts at it, and you would be amazed, man. These little kids come up and watch all that stuff, and in no time flat, these guys have got them casting like they're on a river runs through it or something. It's crazy.
That is so awesome. Anything and everything.
Absolutely. It's a total hands-on experience to introduce people to the concepts of hunting and fishing in Mississippi. That's what the mission statement is. It's just a way for people who don't have that much exposure to it or have never done it at all to come out there and just get a taste of all of it, just to see what it's all about. Everything, like we said, from shooting 22 rifles to bows and arrows, shotguns, anything you can think of. We'll cart you around from station to station, let you try your hand at all of it. There'll be food vendors there. You got all kinds of neat stuff for the kids. And, you know, we always talk about, obviously, this is a very kid-oriented kind of thing.
Sure.
You know, we want kids to come.
Youth.
And we've got law enforcement officers there. We've got very skilled volunteers to make sure that it's a safe way to introduce them to it. Obviously, that's the order of the day is safety. But, it's amazing. The parents get as much or more out of it than the kids do.
Sure.
They use the kids kind of as an excuse, to introduce them. And, of course, the kids have a great time. But these parents, man, they're just wide-eyed and just had no idea you could do that. And, wow, now I learned how to do this. I always thought it was so difficult, and this and that. But, man, all of them just come away just not believing that they ever had the opportunity to get to do it. It's a great, great event that we're really proud of.
And what's that date again?
Outdoorama on the Res, September the 23rd, starting at 8 a.m. and going until about 1 or 2 p.m. there in the afternoon.
We'll be right back with more of Listen to the Eagle.
Legendary entertainer Paul Ott brings you his greatest hits. Get them all in this special CD-DVD combo set, including Old Blue,
Many and a many of an early morn.
I Am Mississippi,
I am everything good you have ever dreamed about.
Right Arm of America, and many more. To order, visit listentotheeagle.com or send $20 check or money order to Paul Ott's Greatest Hits, Box 219, Summit, Mississippi 39666.
Welcome back. Listen to the Eagle. The last segment of this wonderful show talking about hunting and fishing in the great Mississippi outdoors. Bert Carruth, your host, coming to you live from the Reeves Metal Studio alongside Paul Ott down in the Scenic Rivers region at beautiful Lake Dixie Springs. And as always, we thank our wonderful friend, Mr. Brad Young, the Executive Director of the Mississippi Wildlife Federation, for being in studio tonight.
My pleasure as
And
always.
thank you for everything, not only that you do with the Federation, but for the state of Mississippi and the Mississippi hunters and fishermen.
Happy to do it. I am one of those.
Love when the phone lines light up on the last segment. Everybody waits to the end to get in, but that's fine. We love you. Thank you for listening. Let's go straight to the phone lines. We got Wayne in Kosciuszko. Wayne, welcome. Listen to the Eagle.
Yes, sir. Good to listen to y'all, sir. I'm listening to Paul. Good to hear his voice. I want to ask Paul, had he ever heard of it? Me and my son made a trip to some big national forest over at Choctaw Lake. Some of them told us, one of the wildlife managers, there was going to be drained at July the 5th of this year, and they did. And some of the parks guys up there told us that wildlife people up there told them one of the largest bass in the United States come out of that lake weighed a little over 20 pounds. How much? A little over 20 pounds. Good. Told me and my son that. Well, the national record is 24 pounds, I believe, Brad.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it would be.
Wayne, did they say, did they have it recorded, and is that something we can look up?
Well, come from the park science for the fair. Two of the guys said one of the wildlife guys that were over there up there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. They took 3 truckloads, big truckloads of fish out there, and they took it to another lake on 15 somewhere. I don't know where they went to, but he told him, he said the largest bass they weighed out there weighed a little over 20 pounds. Man, that's a monster number.
That is a
my
monster.
gosh.
But the main thing the main thing I heard is we need to find out where they took all those fish. I'd like to go fishing in that lake.
Yeah, what was the name of that lake
you got
again?
it right. Yes, sir. Choctaw Lake up there in town, big national park.
That's the one they drained.
But that's the one they drained. That's not the lake they took the fish to, right?
No, sir. That's the one they drained, and they're redoing the levees and the bridges and all, what we understood.
Yeah, but the question I have for you, Wayne, is, and I know you know, where'd those fish go?
Wayne's being coy about it now.
15 highway.
Wayne got a little choked up on that one. Wayne, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good evening.
Yes,
Enjoy
sir.
listening to you, Paul. Thank you. Bye-bye. Brother. Thank you.
All right, let's go to the man, the myth, the legend, Robert Daly. What's up, Mr. Daly?
Hey, Bert. Brad, how are y'all doing this evening?
Man, we're doing great, Robert. How are you?
I'm good. Look, I know you're running short on time now. I wanted to call and give a quick reminder. The official countdown, 20 days till bow season, is coming in. It's getting close.
Can't get here
pumped up, man. I'm excited.
Can't get here fast enough, can it?
No, it can't. I tell you what, I'm pumped up. I want to remind everybody, be ready. Make sure you got a good bowstring. Make sure you got sharp broadheads. If you're shooting one of those high-tech fancy bows with the training wheels on it, make sure your sights are on and all that good stuff.
Oh,
did I say something? I'm sorry.
Oh, Robert. Hey, what's your 20, Robert?
Oh, I am up here just a little ways north of Batesville.
North of Batesville. That's about right.
Yep, I'm tootling along. Got the sun shining bright over here on my left. I'm expecting to be driving through some rain at some point because those outer bands of Irma
Yes, sir.
are going to be coming up toward Memphis. So
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that it's as open sky up here as it is right now.
Well, be real careful and be safe, and we'll see you next week on the radio.
Absolutely. It's good talking with you. Y'all have a good night. Y'all be careful going home.
Yes, sir. Last minute going in to the end of the show, Brad. Couple events.
Yeah.
Let's give them one more plug each.
Let's give them a last plug. Coming up on September the 23rd, we've got our signature event, Outdoorama on the Reservoir on Highway 43 at the Turcotte Education Center in Canton, Mississippi. Just an all-around experience about hunting and angling in Mississippi. So load up some kids, bring them out, get them outdoors. The weather's going to be great. Check out our website at mswildlife.org. That's mswildlife.org to make sure that you keep up with what's going on with the Mississippi Wildlife Federation.
Thank you so much, as always.
My
We'll see
pleasure.
you next month. Always love having the Executive Director of Mississippi Wildlife Federation, Brad Young, in the house. Hope you enjoyed the show, but if you don't remember anything else about tonight, remember this. If you do things your way, you will get your results. Some good, some bad. If you'll stop and pray, you'll get his results. Love y'all. We'll see you next week. Paul Ott, I'll see you next week. Jim?
Okay, love y'all too.
Everybody, we'll see you next week. Thank y'all so much for being a part of Listen to the Eagle.